Welcome to the Story Apothecary, a podcast filled with healing and medicinal stories. My name is Nana Tomova, and I'm a traditional storyteller and a pharmacist, and stories are medicines which I dispense. In this podcast, you'll find my prescriptions of stories for the body, mind, heart, soul, and for the earth. So I invite you to join me as we enter the healing world of stories together. Welcome to March. It is the month of Baba Marta, Grandmother March, who brings with her snowdrops, who brings with her the good weather, but also the temperamental side of her, so you don't know what you're going to get. Would it be snow? Would it be sun? And so in honour of her, many Balkan countries put little amulets on their person, little martinici of red and white, that bring health and luck. And so on this month, I thought I would share a story with you of another grandmother, Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother. But the story this month is Grandmother's Tale, the women's version. It is wonderful. I've got a recording from the Wild Women session I did of me telling the story last year. And it's a story that is wonderful told in a women's circle, which I've done various times. Very rich. I've used the brilliant work of ethnologist Yvonne Verdier. She interviewed loads of women in rural France. She collected many different versions from women, and she had different quotations in a paper in French. And therefore I have collected the different quotes and strung their story together like a quilt. It has different elements in it that you would not have heard before, presumably. Of course, it has a wolf, but the wolf looks slightly different to how you might imagine it. And this story is earlier than any of the written down versions by the Brothers Grimm and by Perrault, and it hasn't been censored and it hasn't been cleansed. And the red, as you will see, is not a cloak, but more metaphorical. It has some gore, some swearing, and it deals with a mature theme. And I'd say it's suitable for children from 12 to 15 and onwards. So if you're listening with little ones, maybe it's time to pause and listen later at night. I hope that you enjoy this beautiful, beautiful story, The Grandmother's Tale. Beyond the forest, you can see a little hut with a roof that's barely standing. In that hut there is a hearth which is always lit, and the fire is dancing, and by the hearth there is a rocking chair that goes backwards and forwards, and nimble fingers that are knitting and crochet or spinning. The rocking chair belongs to a woman, a grandmother. She had a husband once, but no longer. But she is rarely alone, for the forest has a voice, and the forest has song of the many birds and trees and the wind. She seems to talk to them all, and they talk back. And like many wise women, sometimes there is a queue of people to ask her questions, to ask her for healing, to hope for some answers. And across the other side of the forest, there is a slightly bigger house. And in that house, there is a woman with her daughter. And usually the daughter, no more than 15 summers old, goes between house and cottage, delivering butter and homemade baked bread so fresh that every time you smell it, your belly grumbles, even though you've just eaten. It is the daughter of the mother, the granddaughter of the wise woman, to take that bread as a gift to her grandmother. In this particular May day, it was no different. Take this to your grandmother, the woman said. I've baked freshly baked bread. There's been some storms recently, some winds, so she hasn't had a gift for a while or food. And the girl nodded. She wasn't dressed in red. She was dressed in ordinary clothes, an apron, a dress, comfortable shoes, sensible shoes. They were poor people, they didn't have many things to change from. And she went on her usual walk through the forest. She knew that path so well. She'd walked it so many times she could do it with her eyes closed. As she walked, she picked the strawberries which were ripening at that time of the year. She picked the flowers. She listened to the bird song. Everything was alive. And then she heard a twig crack. And the birds began to tweet ever more loudly. They were announcing a visitor in the forest. She knew that. She had been taught how birds sound. She had been taught how the forest comes alive. She had been taught many things by her mother and her grandmother. Whatever questions she had asked, they did not shoo her away. They did not tell her to be silent. The questions were answered with honesty and with a bit of humour, with humility, with no embarrassment. And so this girl now standing in the forest knew there was something behind her. Her heart began to beat quick as she heard the footsteps get closer and closer, and as she turned around, there was a werewolf. He addressed the girl, "Where are you going?" And the girl said, "I'm going to my grandmother's house." "And which path will he take?" he asked. "Will he take the path of needles, or will he take the path of pins?" "I will take the path of needles," said the girl. "And I will look for some with a big eye to bring to my grandmother, for she cannot see any more." And so the girl went along the path of needles. "Very well," said the werewolf, "I will take the path of pins then." And so they split, and they walked. Now the girl, she was not hasty. It was a beautiful spring day. She took her time. But the wolf had a different agenda in mind. He raced as quickly as he could. He got to the cottage. He opened the door. And as he crept in, there was the woman on her rocking chair by the hearth, lit, crocheting and knitting. And she said, "I've been expecting you." Without even turning around, she knew. She knew the time had come. He wasted not a second. He swallowed her whole. He ate her raw and in her entirety. And then he drained her blood in a little bottle. And then he left a little bit of meat on a little saucer and put them in the pantry. He put on all her clothes, and the bones that he had spat out he put in a basket as kindling. And then he lay in the warm bed, wearing her clothes and waiting, knowing who would come around the corner. Well, a few hours later, as the colours of dusk, pink and orange, began to glow in the sky, there was a little knock on the door, a knock by a fist of a girl no more than 15 summers old. And her voice was heard, rougher than the one she was used to hearing her grandmother. "Come in," said the voice, "come in. Use the cat door and walk that way, the way that the black hen came in." And the girl looked at the cat door. It was small, but she tried her best. "The feet are through," she said, "the feet are through. The rest will come, ça va bien." And she went through the little door into the cottage. "I'm tired," she said. "Ah, ma petite," said the grandmother wolf. "You must be tired, but you must be hungry too. Would you like something to eat and to drink?" "I would," she said. "I would," said the girl. "Open the pantry. There is a little bit of meat and a little bit of wine for you to drink. You're old enough now. You can drink." And she opened the pantry, and she took the pan and put the pan upon the fire, and there she took the meat and put a little bit of butter in the pan, and there the meat began to sizzle, and the wolf watched her cook and said under his breath, "Fricasse, fricasse, you're eating the teats of your grandmother." And then, as she drank the wine, he said, "And you're drinking the blood of your grandmother." And the girl began to eat and carried on drinking, and flesh became flesh, and wine became blood. And so her grandmother was within her, and she did not know it. "You must be tired now. Come and keep me warm. Your grandmother's so cold these days. My limbs, they cannot seem to warm up in my old age." "Oh, what about my apron?" she said. "Throw it in the fire, for you won't need it any more, and put some kindling in the fire. The flame is dancing low." And so she put the kindling in the fire, not knowing she was actually putting the bones of her grandmother. "And what about my bodice?" she said. "I'll put it in the fire, for you won't need it any more." "And how about my skirt?" she said. "Put that in the fire, for you won't need it any more." "And how about my stockings?" "Put that in the fire, for you won't need it any more." And my bodice? And everything was to be put in the fire, for she did not need it any more. And there she was, the girl, bare as the day she came into this world. "Come in my bed, ma petite," said the grandmother wolf, in the cottage that was enveloped in darkness apart from the dancing flames of the hearth. The girl went into the bed, under the covers. She did not see much, but her grandmother smelled different, and her grandmother felt different. She was hairier. Grandma, you're so hairy," she said. "That is old age for you, my dear." "And what about your hands, grandmother? Why are they so hairy?" "They're so hairy from all the years my husband made me bear." "And what about your arms, grandmother? Why are they so hairy?" "They're so hairy for all the years I spent working too hard." "And what about your chest, grandmother? Your chest is hairy." "It is hairy from all the young ones that I've fed. Too many." "And your belly, grandmother? Your belly is so hairy. Why is it so hairy?" "It's from all the children I bore into this world. Too many." And the girl had her questions answered, food for thought, and she lay down and, "Come closer," the wolf grandmother said. Now this girl was brought on questions, brought on stories, brought up on the forest, on the fire of the wisdom of two women who had grandmothers and mothers before them. And she knew in her belly when something wasn't right. She knew by the beating of her heart when something wasn't right. She was never told to silence her voice, and so she trusted it, like many of us have forgotten how. And she acted. She thought and she said, Grandmother, I need to relieve myself. Do it in the bed, my dear. I can't do it in the bed, my grandmother. I need to relieve myself. I need to go to the toilet. Do it in the bed, my dear. Grandmother, I need to shit. I cannot do it in the bed. I need to go outside to the garden. Very well, said the grandmother wolf. Take this piece of string and tie it to your ankle so I know you won't run away. And so one piece of string was held, and the other one tied to the ankle of the girl who went outside. And there she saw by the light of the full moon glinting of metal, and there were the gardening scissors, not having been used in such a long time, and she took them and she cut the cord and tied the string around a tree, and she ran as quickly as she could. She ran more quickly than she ever had. Her feet took her across nettles and sedge and moss and stone, and she ran with the stars and the moon as her witness. And the wolf waited. How long is this taking her? What are you doing? Are you watering the cabbages, my dear? But there was no answer. And so he began to shake the cord to see there was something at the other end, and there was, sure enough. And he waited a little bit longer. And the girl still traversed the landscape. By now it was dawn. The sun was rising from the eastern horizons, painting the skies yellow and gold and crimson. And there was the river, shimmering like a mirror, offering light of the sun to see itself. And there was no one around apart from the washerwomen. The washerwomen who were always there as early as could be, there with the dawn chorus of the birds, and she cried for them, help me, there is a wolf trying to get me. And they said, come this way. And they spread sheets, those big white laundry sheets across the river. Come this way, they said, come this way, walk. And as they spread the sheet, made a bridge from this side of the river to the next, and she walked safely all the way to go home. Whereas the wolf, he was still pulling on that cord, thinking she's grown strong. And then he got tired of waiting and he opened the door, and what should he see? There was no girl at the end of the cord. It was tied to a birch tree, and he was angry. He was wrathful. He began to howl and move as quickly as he could across her scent she had left behind, and so he followed it. And there he saw the washerwomen. And now in the humanness of his werewolfness, he spoke. I am looking after a girl, and she has been lost. Please, would you help me? Would you help me to find her? I'm scared for what harm might come to her. And they said, come this way, come this way. And again they spread the linen tight. And as he began to climb and walk, for the river was deep, you see, they looked at each other. One's eyes met the next one's eyes, and all together their fingers spread, and they dropped it. And the wolf fell down to the river, and the white sheet, like a shroud, covering him. And those washerwomen by the river, they took the life of the wolf, and they gave the life back to that girl, who on that day made it safely home, shaken up, but never the same.
having inside her the blood and flesh of her grandmother. That girl who had picked the path of needles and made it safely home, and when her mother saw her, she knew that she was different, but her life carried on, the same life of the women behind her, before her, and the life that would come many women after her. That girl, full of knowledge and wisdom, crossed the threshold from girlhood to womanhood.
There are many signs in this story worth exploring, from the pins and needles of adolescence to the little door where the hen came in with the feet that arrived first into the world, that pair of scissors that cut the cord, the washerwomen that welcome into the world and say goodbye from this world. All of the women's roles which would have been expected, from marriage to giving birth, to tending at births, to tending at deaths. It is a story that contains the whole world of a woman in it, hidden amongst plain sight. It is a story that teaches about first encounters. It is a story that warns. It's a story that highlights the importance of instinct, the importance of thinking quick, of trusting your feet, of trusting your heart, running when it's necessary, staying when it's needed, crossing a threshold from one life stage into another, as the all must and all will at some point in our lives. Thank you to In Feathers, as always, for the beautiful music. Thank you for choosing to spend a wee while listening to this tale. I hope that you carry it with you like a treasure in your pocket, and I look forward to seeing you soon next month for the beautiful few weeks. And come again, and maybe bring a friend. See you soon. Go well. Goodbye for now.